At 88 years old, Pope Francis has once again shaken the world with a groundbreaking announcement that could forever change the future of the Catholic Church. For the first time in modern history, the world may witness something that once seemed nearly impossible: a black pope leading the largest Christian denomination on earth. The Catholic Church, a spiritual home to over 1.3 billion people, is standing at the edge of transformation. And this transformation is not just symbolic. It could represent a full shift in how the Church sees itself and its global family. For centuries, the papacy has been held by European men. From the stone halls of Rome to the chambers of the Vatican, the face of the Catholic Church's highest leadership has remained strikingly uniform. While the Church has grown into a worldwide spiritual force, reaching into Africa, Asia, Latin America, and beyond, its top leadership remained closed to the diverse cultures that define its congregation. But Pope Francis, known for his humility and willingness to break barriers, has just opened the doors wider than ever before. In his recent statement, Pope Francis didn't simply hint at change, he spoke of it with purpose. He acknowledged the rising influence of African clergy and the growing presence of Black Catholics across the world. More importantly, he made it clear that the next chapter of the Church's leadership may include a face that reflects those very people. Could it be that we are about to see the election of the first Black Pope in modern history? If so, what would that mean for the Catholic Church, for Africa, and for the millions who have waited for this moment? To understand the depth of this moment, we must first look at the historical context. While most people believe there has never been a Black Pope, that's not entirely true. In the 2nd century, Pope Victor I, an African, led the Church during a time of great transition. Though his story is often forgotten or downplayed, it is a powerful reminder that Africa's connection to the Church is deep and old. Since then, however, African influence in Vatican leadership has slowly faded into the background. European leadership has become the standard, and the idea of a Black Pope has remained distant. Despite this history, the Catholic Church in Africa has grown rapidly. African countries are now home to some of the world's most devout Catholic populations. Millions gather each week in churches across Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Congo, and many other nations. Faith is not just alive, it's thriving. And yet, for far too long, these communities have seen little representation in the highest offices of the Church. This is where Pope Francis has made a difference. Since becoming Pope, he has appointed cardinals and bishops from parts of the world that have long been ignored. He's shown a clear desire to make the Church reflect its global reality. Under his leadership, the Vatican has started to look more like the world it serves. And now with his recent announcement, it seems he's preparing the Church to accept something it's never seriously considered in the modern era: a Black Pope. But who could this Black Pope be? Who are the key figures rising within the Catholic Church who might step into this historic role? Let's look at 3 major names being talked about across the globe. Men who have dedicated their lives to faith, service, and leadership. The first is Cardinal Peter Turkson from Ghana. He's one of the most respected African leaders in the Catholic Church today. Turkson has already made history as the first African to head a Vatican department, the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace. He has become a global voice for economic fairness, climate justice, and peace. He speaks clearly about poverty and inequality, not only in Africa but across the world. Cardinal Turkson's leadership combines spiritual strength with a strong focus on real-world issues. His compassionate nature, global vision, and deep ties to Africa make him a serious contender for the papacy. Then there is one Cardinal Robert Sarah of Guinea. He is a man of deep prayer and strict discipline. While he holds more traditional views on many church teachings, his influence in the Vatican has been enormous. He served as the head of the Congregation for Divine Worship, which gave him control over the way the Church celebrates Mass around the world. Cardinal Sarah's conservative stance makes him appealing to those in the Church who want to hold on to tradition, but his African roots and quiet strength have earned him global respect. The third is Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Known for his courage and his work in conflict zones, Ambongo has spoken out against violence, injustice, and corruption. His voice echoes loudly in parts of the world where suffering is common, and where the church is often the only place people turn for hope. He is deeply respected both in his home country and in Rome. Cardinal Ambongo represents a balance between spiritual leadership and social action. His strong moral stance and passion for justice make him a powerful candidate for global leadership. Each of these men brings something unique to the church, but what they all share is a deep connection to Africa, a continent that now plays a major role in the future of Catholicism. And with Pope Francis opening the door wider than ever before, the possibility of one of them becoming the next pope is no longer a dream. It's something that may actually happen within our lifetime. But why does it matter? Why would the election of a black pope be such a big deal? The answer is simple. It's about more than just race. It's about recognition. It's about justice. And it's about truly living the values the Church teaches. For millions of black Catholics around the world, seeing someone who looks like them in the highest role of the Church would be a sign that they belong, that their voice matters, that their faith is just as valuable as anyone else's. A black Pope would also bring a fresh perspective to Vatican leadership. Someone who understands the struggles of poverty, of colonization, of racial discrimination, not from books, but from lived experience, could bring deep empathy and strength to a church in need of healing. It could also help the church build deeper relationships in Africa and the wider black diaspora, where young people are looking for meaning, connection, and leadership they can trust. Beyond the symbolic power, the impact would be practical too. Vatican policies and programs could start to better reflect the realities of people living outside Europe. Issues like global poverty, inequality, injustice, and even climate change could be addressed with new urgency and focus. A black pope might prioritize local churches in Africa and Latin America that lack resources, and he could amplify the voices of those who are often silenced. Some may ask, would the world accept a black pope? Would the Catholic Church, which has often struggled with change, truly embrace this moment? The answer depends on all of us. Faith is not just about tradition, it's about transformation. And the Church has always been called to grow, to listen, and to serve the world as it is, not as it used to be. Already, Pope Francis has faced pushback for his progressive vision, but that has never stopped him. At 88, he's using what may be his final years of leadership to set the stage for a church that looks more like the world it serves. His announcement was not just about the next pope. It was about the soul of the church. It was a call to finally embrace the full beauty of its global family. Whether or not the next pope is black, the door has been opened. The question now is whether the church will walk through it. Will it rise to this moment and let history be made again? Or will it stay in the safety of what it has always known? The choice lies with the cardinals, who will one day gather to elect the next pope. But the hope